This is not Zen. But it could be. Before we see if digital art can be Zen, we need to know what is Zen. Zen is a school of Buddhism that emphasizes meditation, intuition, and direct experience over theoretical knowledge. It encourages letting go of attachments and cultivating a deep awareness of the present moment, often through practices like seated meditation and mindful actions in daily life. Zen aims to achieve enlightenment through simplicity and clarity of mind, stripping away the layers of complexity that often cloud our understanding. I don't always feel this with my art. Now, don't get me wrong, digital art can be the perfect relaxing hobby. There's no mess, you can work in a comfortable environment in your home or office. You can undo mistakes with ease and practice without waste. But is it Zen? It sure doesn't feel Zen when I'm working late into the night on a tight deadline for a client. I need to relax more, find my digital inner peace, my digital Zen. But where? This could work. So I suppose there's two reasons as to why I decided to make this video. I did indeed want to find a practice or a warm-up for my digital art to chill, relax, and get loosened up for my work ahead. But I also wanted to see if the art of Enso could be achieved digitally. Now, I know you can get vectors and Photoshop brushes, but this felt as close to the real thing as I could possibly get. And I'm really sorry to all the Enso purists out there. So Enso art, which is an essential aspect of Zen Buddhism, consists of a single brushstroke circle, symbolizing enlightenment, strength, elegance, the universe, and the void. Deep stuff, I hear you say. The circle may be open or closed, each representing different facets of the universe and human experience. The act of painting Enso is considered a spiritual practice, reflecting on the artist's state of mind and the beauty found in imperfection. And here's how we do it. Now, in creating real Enso art, you use a brush called a sumi. You use black ink, very loose, liquidy, flowing ink, and traditionally rice paper with a piece of felt underneath to absorb the ink. But we're not doing that, we're using a computer screen. So to try and achieve that splashy, inky look, I'm using Rebelle 7 Pro on my Surface Studio 2. I've got a lovely big screen to work on so I can get that fluid action. And I've been working and testing on lots of different brushes to get as close to that feel of the sumi ink, of the sumi brush and the sumi ink as much as possible. So let's see if it can get there. Approach your Enso with a calm, meditative state. Remember, the process is as important as the result. With a single continuous stroke, create your circle. This might be open or closed, thick or thin. The beauty lies in its imperfections. When an artist paints or draws an Enso, it is typically done in one fluid, uninhibited stroke, often in a single breath. This embodies the Zen concept of mushin, or no mind, where the mind is free from the clutter of conscious thought. Take a moment to reflect on what you've created. It's a snapshot of your state of mind at that very moment. Embrace the simplicity and the power of the brushstroke. Okay, let's give it a try. Right, so we've got Rebelle 7 Pro open now, and I've whittled it down to this program because although I use lots of really good art programs, I couldn't get that splashy ink look on any of the others. Whereas I've tried loads of the different brushes and spotted in the watercolors at the top there, if you go down and have a look, they actually have a sumi brush section. Who knew? So I've tried different ones, the sumi E-Soft, sumi bristle and sumi ribbon, and I think the sumi bristle, the one in the middle, is the closest. I've got the settings, the size at 72, the opacity, I suppose it depends, some Enso circles are very thin, some are very chunky, so it's up to you on the size. The opacity I've got at 100 and the water I've got at 87. Those are the settings I thought were just about right. Now on Rebelle, you can tilt the canvas to be slightly down, so the ink and water and watercolours and everything will run down the page. So I've got it set about just over half on the tilt bar on the top right, but I don't want to let it run all the way down. I don't want it to be too messy. So what you can do is on this right hand side of the panel, you can see wet or dry the layer. So once it's just started to run a little bit, that's when I dry it. And then what I've found as well, just to kind of get the thickness slightly, it looks good with just one, but I've found if you duplicate the layer, it then makes it look even more authentic. For the paper, I've got the aquarelle, can't say it, I've got the aquarelle paper, and I've just set it to you can set the different height maps on there so the ink and the paint react differently, and I've just got it set on the default there, just so it's got a little bit of texture to play with and tooth for the ink to kind of settle on. So let's give it a go. So we get our breathing, we try and declutter our mind. This is why I've been tidying up the office at the beginning, to try and make my space more zen and more peaceful. And I want to use this as a practice before my work. So let's loosen up, get our breathing sorted, and focus. And then on one breath, we're going to go round. Now I found that standing up is better, pointing the stylus far down, and I found that going from right to left was quite good, but I found going from left to right for me worked better. Now some people put lots of splashes at the beginning as if they really get the sumi brush down and then start the stroke. It's entirely up to you on what I suppose is in your mind at that time, what the feel is and how heavy you press. The stylus on Rebelle will turn and tilt as if the brush is kind of kicking round. So I'm trying to go with the flow of the stylus as we go. Right, let's give it a go and see what we come up with. Okay, I wonder what that means. There's a bit of a twist there, but I'm really happy with this side of things. So what I'm saying is if you go then and duplicate the layer, it just adds that little bit of weight to it. And if you watch, the ink is slowly going to start running down the page, and you'll start to see it kind of drip and diffuse down. But I don't want it to go too far. I didn't put too much on this time. I didn't press too heavy. Just want it to start to feel that it's just filling in some of those little gaps. And when I'm happy with it, then we hit the wet or dry the layer and dry the layer. Right, we're going to give that another go. Okay, let's give it a go. It's not easy, but this is the point. It's not meant to be perfect. That's the whole idea of it, the wabi-sabi notion. It's perfection in imperfection, and I think this is a lesson to learn that art isn't always going to be perfect, and sometimes we've just got to be happy with the process and enjoy the process and find mindfulness in that process. And there is beauty in imperfection. I find them very relaxing to do and really kind of quite addictive. I've seen those videos of the teachers drawing the perfect circle. I don't really want that. I want it to be imperfect. So as you can see at the top there, the ink is starting to run down the page. Rebelle 7 is so worth checking out. It's amazing when you see the paint and the watercolours start to react on the paper. Look, as you can see, it's coming down the page there. What a treat. So I don't really want it to encroach on the circle. I am going to dry the layer now. And I'm going to duplicate just gives it that little bit more weight and body. You can see another one I did a minute ago. It's just completely different feel every single time. And I love it. And I'm definitely going to use it before I do my work, just to loosen up. I really enjoy doing this process. And I think Rebelle 7 for that is fantastic because it reacts so like real ink. If I put the tilt even further, and if I get a page open on there, and really ink, you'll see the ink start to run down the page. It's as close to the real thing as you're going to get without getting paint all over your dog or watercolours all up your wall, which I'm not allowed to do anymore. But look at that. It's superb. Well worth trying. So I'm really happy to have had a go at doing Enso circles, and to circle back to the beginning, pardon the pun, with me getting really stressed with my initial Enso. I didn't really understand what Enso was about. The process is a reflection of me, and it's just as important as the result. I was getting stressed that I couldn't draw a proper circle. Perfection in Enso circles is a bit of a paradox. The essence of Enso is to capture a moment, complete with its imperfections. The beauty lies in its authenticity and the expression of the artist's state of mind. Seeking perfection can actually detract from the spontaneity and genuine nature of the circle. So in the realm of Enso art, imperfection is perfection. Embrace the wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection. So how could it help my art, and how could it help yours? This could be a fantastic warm-up process to get loose and to block out daily life and distractions and all the stresses that come with it. So can digital art be Zen? I don't feel I've fully cracked Enso, but I do feel a lot better for doing it. So maybe I am on the path to digital enlightenment, and I must remember the Japanese aesthetic of wabi-sabi, and I really appreciate the beauty in imperfection. Maybe that's why I paint the way I do, with lots of splashy marks and random colours. Maybe I've been imperfect all along. Instead of striving for flawlessness, Enso is all about authenticity and the passing of time, which I feel is a lesson all artists should strive for. It's a reminder that life, like a circle, is never truly complete, but rather an ongoing, interconnected process. Art is never perfect, never complete. Embrace it. Try new things and just enjoy the process and the journey. Go have a go at Enso art. Find your digital Zen.